Greetings, it's Iain from RTO here. Welcome to a brand new album review. And this one's the big one, or it is one of the big ones for me. Talked about him a lot on the channel, but we haven't had a new album from him in over nearly 22 years. And we're talking about Peter Gabriel, of course. Gabriel and his new album I.O. Now, he's been releasing this over the year when there's a full moon and what have you. Now, there's two versions of this. There's the dark side and the thing, but I've only heard the one that's come out. I am going to listen to the other one. I found it on it is on Spotify. I haven't listened to it yet. Well, bits of it just to compare. I can't see any difference, but there you go. That's just me. So, this album, I.O., has been in production for nearly 3 decades. It started way back in 1995, and it took him up until now. He began the follow-up in 2000, which was and it should have been released in 2004, but it was repeatedly delayed, reworked, re-recorded, and so I think that's why we've got like 2 albums of it. So who's playing on it? Well, for a start, it wouldn't be a Peter Gabriel album without Tony Levin. There's a lot. He's worked with Peter a lot, and his daughter Melanie is on this as well, and the one and only Mr. Brian Eno, who sort of is one of the 3 producers on this, so he plays on it as well. So let's have a look at these songs. So the first one is called Panopticom. I think that's how you pronounce it. But I love this song. It's a wonderful little gentle thing. I would say it reminds me of a little bit of the Humdrum from the first album. I love it. It's just that nice little piano. It's gentle. And the first thing I noticed, Peter's voice. It's a little bit deeper than when he sang Supper's Ready, but it's still a very good voice. It hasn't changed much. It's not harsh. He doesn't struggle. He doesn't go flat. It's just one of my favourite tracks on this album already. I really like that track. Second track on this one is called The Court. Now this goes back to the sound and the percussions. Goes back to the days of Us and So. That you quite really especially some of that, it's more Us. That sort of percussion that's got a little bit of a muffle on it, but it works. And Peter's voice on this is just terrific again. I was so amazed how he can still do this. Then we get Playing for Time. Excellent track. Again, we go back to you listen to some of the great ballads of the past, like Blood of Eden and Don't Give Up. This is in that same vein. Wonderful atmospheric and ambience that you only get with Peter. Fantastic song. Then we get this title track, which is I.O. or On Off or whatever you want to call it. This is very gentle. Then it goes a little bit poppy. And one thing with Peter, you always know you're not going to get rubbish. I've never heard anything that Peter's put out that's bad. And it's a fine vocal. Musically, we know how much a perfectionist Peter is, and I love this track. He just really gets into the groove. Then we have a track called 4 Kinds of Horses. Another one of my favourites. And it's hard to describe it. It's just wonderful vocals. And you've got Melanie on here, his daughter doing the backing vocals, and I think this is great. It's up there with Don't Give Up and Blood of Eden. Wonderful song. Okay, the next one is a real upbeat thing. It's written by Peter and Brian. It's called Road to Joy. Really quirky. Some great playing on here. You've got Peter Gabriel and Brian Eno, who have worked together before, and it's such a wonderful little out track this is. Great vocal, great structure of the song, nice melody, nice sort of upbeat sort of percussion on it. Fantastic. Then we get So Much. The lyrics are wonderful on this. It's typical Peter, writing something about nothing. It's heartwarming. It's sultry. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, then we get the Olive Tree. Now, this is the one that I'm really not getting into at the moment. So at the moment, this is sort of my least favourite on the album. It's still growing on me. Fine singing, but I just can't see where it's going at the moment. Ask me again in 6 months and I might be able to give you a better answer. Love Can Heal. One of the great atmospheric songs on here. It's a slow with some beautiful tones. The ambience on this, and you listen to it on the headphones, it just takes you off into other places. A wonderful little track. Then we got This Home, another of my favourites. Got some wonderful tones on here. The percussion and the arrangement, bit different, but it's modern, but it's put into the Peter Gabriel box, and he's brought it down to how he does his stuff. Wonderful track. And Still, okay, this is a little bit too long. 7 minutes and 41. It needs to be shaved by a couple of minutes. There's a bit in the middle that sort of, again, it's always the middle bits that sort of meander, but it pulls it back in. So if you got rid of that meandering bit, which is about a minute and a half, I think the song would be good, but it's just a tad little long for me, this one. Then we get Live and Let Live, which is the last track. Very good track. Fantastic vocal from Peter. As I said, his voice has got a little bit deeper over the years, which we all do. All our voices change. And it's a great track to end the album. Lovely arrangement. Okay. Has it been worth the wait for a new Peter Gabriel album? Of course it is. He's never put a bad album out. Okay, he did that soundtrack. It was a bit weird, but the other he did Birdie, of course, as well, and that was a great, because it's just his tracks, instrumental. Okay, he's done that covers album, the orchestral versions of his songs, but this is the first time since us that we've got a full album. The writing's still there. He can still write a good lyric. His arrangements is still precise, with Brian Eno as well. You know, having Brian Eno on board has always been good, because you've got two blokes that are really perfectionists when it comes to making music. I've played this loads this week, well, since it's come out, and I do like this album. It's a very, very good album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.5. So there we go. Up next, 3 today, we've got part 2 of the Steve Hillish story, which we're doing at the moment. We're going to look at another one-off band he was in called Khan, and the album Space Shanty. Now this one I have heard of, because it's got the keyboard player Dave Stewart, not the one that was in the Eurythmics, but the proggy jazz fusion Dave Stewart. So we'll be having a look at that. So join me for that later. Bye for now.